Hey folks, welcome back. It's Rod with POW Group. It is Monday, October 26th. Thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. And in today's video, we're going to discuss some news and events, and we'll go over some indices. There's not really much I had to update you guys on today, aside from the fact that I had a trade review on CVE. We saw that CVE is buying Husky in an all-stock deal, which we'll touch on in just a second. But before we jump into the video, just make sure to smash the like, hit the subscribe button, tick the bell, and you'll be notified on the next update. So we did see Nancy Pelosi slams the Trump administration over the testing and stimulus negotiations as they remain deadlocked. We also saw that Mark Meadows basically said that they're not going to be able to contain the virus and that they basically need to just work on having a cure, yada, yada, yada. And a lot of people are criticizing them and saying that there's more that they can do. But essentially, in terms of stimulus, it doesn't look like we're going to get it before the election. Definitely hopes are fading. We did have Google earnings today as well, but I haven't seen anything. There's been some back and forth with regards to when they report. I've seen a couple of different dates, and same thing with Hexo. But earnings whispers did say that they were supposed to report today, but likely because the market was down, the market manipulators decided against that and want it to get released with all the other big tech earnings, similar to what happened with Facebook last time when we had the antitrust probe and the earnings in the summer. So we'll see if there's any truth to that and if they're just manipulating the market as always. So taking a look at, first and foremost, we'll look at SPY. So we did see a significant pullback today to start the day, and a lot of people are saying it's because of the headlines and cases hitting all-time highs, but in my opinion, that shouldn't come as a surprise. And if it came as a surprise to you, then I don't know, maybe investing's not for you. But yeah, I start to tune out these headlines because the more I read it, the more it just doesn't make any sense. Now the market's concerned about it. It just doesn't make any sense. So I just try to tune it all out. We don't really care why the market's down. We just look at the charts. You can see here we were forming a daily descending triangle, and we broke out of that, and we basically hit the target. My target was this higher low down here at 331. We hit 335 and started to bounce, and SPY on the 50-day moving average is sitting at 339.60, and we closed at 339.39, which was also just below the 10-week moving average as well. You can see the stochastic starting to cross bearish, and the MACD is trending down, and we are holding that 10-week moving average, but certainly a point in favor of the bulls today. And looks like the weekly lower high has been set, looking for a weekly higher low compared to 319. So that's it for SPY. QQQ, same deal, basically lost the daily in a daily downtrend, looking for a weekly higher low. So we'll look to the daily chart. Once the bulls can confirm a daily uptrend, then we'll know that the weekly higher low is set, but we're essentially bouncing off EMA 12 support at 276. SPY did lose it, but we have it at 337. We did close above that. So that is, that's a point in favor of the bulls as well. Oil was pulling back today. Not really much to report there, just basically range bound. Same with gold. We are just going sideways for the last little while from the last bull market, last bull move that we had last week, but still in this descending triangle on the weekly as well. That's pretty much all I had for you guys that I wanted to highlight. We can see that the dollar's bouncing, but could still potentially be a daily bear flag, and we haven't set a higher low yet. So if we do pull back and set a higher low, bulls will be hopeful that we can set a higher low and higher high and change that trend, but still a possibility of a daily, daily bear flag. I'll just draw that out for you guys here so you can see still holding the 0.32. We did come close to the 0.35 to the 0.5 retracement. So I would still consider that a possibility of a daily bear flag. So we'll look to the hourly chart here. You can see we're in an hourly uptrend. So we'll see how this progresses overnight into tomorrow, but certainly not that impressive in my opinion in terms of a bounce, given the fact that then everything pulled back. Basically, gold just held up really well all day. Bitcoin did break below 13,000. We tested the 12,700, 800 level. On Coinbase, we had a low of 12,785. So that's pretty much where we stand on the indices. Just taking a look at QQQ as well, because we do have major tech earnings this week. See if there's any clues. So we are looking to cross bearish on the stochastic. MACD is still trending down, and we did close above the 10-week moving average, so that's bullish. Taking a look at QQQ on the daily, we closed above the, actually we closed at 280.47, which is just barely below the 50-day moving average, so that's notable. And the MACD is crossing bearish on the daily as well. So taking a look at trade review. So we did see that Cenovus shares fall because they were buying Husky Energy for $3.8 billion in an all-stock deal. So that essentially is dilution. So a lot of investors are taking that as bad news. I'll dive into the charts there in just a second. We did have AstraZeneca saying that their trials suggest a promising immune response in older adults. So I thought I'd share that with you folks. Average daily cases in the US hit all-time high as experts warn of exponential spread. And we did see that Trump basically called mainstream media out and said that it's all just a ploy and a conspiracy, and that all these new cases hitting all-time highs is just a conspiracy and it doesn't really actually have any truth to it. So kind of crazy that we're seeing Trump fight the experts and the science that's out there. But again, not to get political, but taking a look at CVE. So I did call this out in the group today. So I had a couple people saying that they were looking to get into CVE as a long-term hold. I did mention that we had daily support. So I did take a trade off of the support here it was at 318. Come on, the TSX. Let's go over to the NYSE. So the NYSE, you can see we had daily support at 318. We had a gap down. Gap downs are usually for buying. So I entered off of that flush of 318. You can see here we had a low of 316. And then we hit a double bottom at 316 again. So that's when I entered off the double bottom, knowing that we broke 318. We hit 316, wasn't convinced. We were rejecting at EMA 12. We were still in a 5-minute downtrend. And then as soon as bulls held that and bought that dip at 316, that's when I entered. And you could have made upwards of 9 to 10% on that bounce today. And I sold when we got to 5-minute overbought, and still holding some MJ, still have a SPY and QQQ short, which paid off big today. But in summary, like I said, we have some earnings, big earnings this week. Big tech earnings will resume this week. We didn't have Google's earnings out today, which I found very odd. So and there's no change in the aftermarket. So it doesn't look like they're going to be coming out today. Like I said, we were also expecting Hexo earnings as per Earnings Whisper, but not seeing any mention of that. But we will have a ton of earnings this week. So again, just to bring this up here, we've got Microsoft, Apple, Amazon. We've got all the big tech. We've got Facebook. You can see all the crazy big tech names that we're going to have for the rest of the week. So it's going to be very, very turbulent. There's going to be a lot of just narrative about the election, and obviously the cases are spiking. So it's going to be an interesting finish to the week. And in 5 more trading days left before the election, and again, we probably won't have the results in until the end of that week due to the mail-in voting. So again, it's Rod with Powell Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and tick the bell to be notified on my next update. And we'll see you tomorrow for another daily market recap. Have a great night, everyone.